Let's make something delicious. For these white stuffed shells, you want to start by preheating your oven to 400 degrees. Then you want to get your pasta water boiling. You want to salt it heavily and add your jumbo shells. It will be about a 12-ounce box because you want to get those on early so that they can cool enough that you can handle them without burning your hands. While they are cooking, you want to brown up a ½ pound of mild Italian sausage. You can use hot if you prefer spicy things, but I am using mild. Sometimes some stores will refer to it as sweet Italian sausage, but they are the same thing. Now that our pasta shells are cooked and they're draining and cooling, and our sausage is cooked and is cooling, now we'll get started on our filling. In this bowl, we have 16 ounces of whole milk ricotta cheese. You want whole milk ricotta. Do not use part skim. It's going to be much better with whole milk ricotta. And with this, we are going to add a good little pinch of salt and a couple good grinds of black pepper. Now you want to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of dried parsley. Now remember, when you're using dried herbs, you want to rub them between the palms of your hands so that it releases the oils back in. Now you want to stir in all of that into your ricotta before we add the rest of the good stuff. Now we are going to add our nice browned and slightly cooled sausage with all of its grease. You want all that oil, that nice grease and oil, you want all that to go in. You want to stir that around. Get it all nice and mixed in. You don't want to go with more, for that amount of shells, you don't want to go with more than a ½ pound of sausage, or it's a little too much. It's going to be a little too sausage heavy and it's going to dominate the flavor. You really don't want that. Now we are going to add about 4 to 6, depending on how much cheese you want in there, about 4 to 6 ounces of mozzarella cheese that you have cut into little cubes like this, just little tiny cubes. You don't want to grate it, and please do not use pre-grated because there's a reason for it being cut in these cubes. That way every shell has these little bites of melted, beautiful mozzarella deliciousness. Now you want to mix all of that in, and once you get it all mixed together, you will want to taste it to make sure that the salt level is fine, and adjust your seasoning accordingly. Now we're going to start stuffing. You want to take your cooled pasta shells that, as you can see, they want to roll up on you. The way to stuff them so that they don't roll up on you, see these two ends here, not the ends that are cupping up, but the ends that are cut. Squeeze those and see, it'll open up like a little pouch for you. Now you want to take a good tablespoon of your filling and spoon it in. And see, that's the easiest way to fill these pasta shells. Now we are going to place them in a 13x9 baking dish that I have coated with about 2 to 3 good tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now you just want to keep stuffing these until you get them all fixed. And remember, squeeze the ends, that way it makes a little pocket for you. Now that our shells are all nice and stuffed, now we're back over here at the stove and we're going to make our sauce that makes them white stuffed shells, because this is going to be a bechamel, which is a white sauce, in case you don't know what a bechamel is. Don't panic, it may sound complicated. It's not complicated at all. In this sauce pot, we have 6 tablespoons of salted butter, and we have melted that really well. And I am adding a ½ cup of all-purpose flour, and we are just going to make a roux with that. Now, because this does have salt in the butter, but still you are adding milk, and milk does not come out of the cow seasoned. So you want to add a couple of good pinches of salt, and of course some black pepper. Now you want to let this cook for about a minute or so to cook that raw flour taste out of there. You don't want that raw flour taste in there. This is on about medium heat. Now we are going to start adding our milk. This could take up to 4 cups, but you want to start slowly. Add about a ½ cup, and you want to start whisking that in. because you don't want it to be lumpy. You want a nice, smooth, creamy sauce. So you want to work that in until it's all nice and creamy and there's no lumps in it and it starts to thicken. Then you will add your next cup to half cup. And as you can see, that's already starting to get nice and thick on you. And it's already nice and smooth. So you will add your next little bit. That time, I added about a cup. Because your initial adding, you have to be more conservative with it because it can lump quicker in your first addition. So now you want to whisk that all together. I'm using this little half moon whisk that a wonderful viewer sent to me. And I don't know what I ever did without having one, because it gets in the corners beautifully. Now you want to whisk that until it's all smooth again and starts to thicken, just like you did the first time. Make sure you get, if there's any lumps in there, make sure that you whisk them thoroughly to get them out. Now you're starting to get thick again. Now it's going to be a little less thick than it was the first time, but you're going to start to fill it with your whisk. You're going to start to feel it getting nice and thick. So now you want to add another cup. And you want to repeat this process until it is your desired thickness. You may or may not use all 4 cups. I will show you what it looks like when it's at the right consistency. Now we have added all but about 1/4 of a cup of our milk. And to me this looks like it's going to get plenty thick enough. Now it still needs to heat just a little bit more to thicken up just a little bit more, but as you can see, it's coating the side of the pot really well, and that's what you're looking for. You want it to coat the side of the pot really well. You want it to be thicker than milk, but you don't want it to be like a thick sauce either, like a thick queso or something like that. When you dip your spoon in, see, you want to be able to drag a line on it and the line hold without running back together. Now at this point, you'll want to taste it for seasoning. I am adding just a little bit more salt because, like I said, milk does not come out of the cow seasoned. Now, this, if you don't know anything about bechamel, this may seem a little strange to you. But bechamel always has just a pinch, literally just a tiny pinch, like maybe 1/18 of a teaspoonful of nutmeg. I know that may sound odd. If you don't like nutmeg, you don't have to add it, but it's not going to be the same because it adds this nice, beautiful little warmth to it. You don't taste it and say, oh, this tastes like eggnog. It's just a nice, beautiful little back note warmth that just sets the whole sauce off and makes it taste amazing. Now, as you can see, it's gotten nice and thick on us now. It's a beautiful, rich, satiny sauce. If you add the milk all at once, you won't get the satiny sauce. You will get a very thick, lumpy sauce. It won't be satiny and smooth like this. It will be way too lumpy. Now, at this point, you're going to see if you need that other 1/4 of a cup, because you're going to see by how thick it's getting. And I'm going to add just a little splash more. And this is going to be a perfect bechamel. If you follow these instructions, you will always get a perfect bechamel. You just have to be patient with it and be willing to stand here and stir the entire time, because you don't want it to lump on you or scorch. Now, as you can see, our shells are nice and filled. Now we're just going to take a ladle and ladle it over the top. You don't want to pour it, because if you just pour the whole pot on there, it's going to disturb your shells. And as you can see, you've got them tightly packed in here. That's how you want to pack them. You want to tightly pack them in your pan. So you do not want to just pour it. If you do pour it, be sure and pour it very slowly, very precisely. But you want to cover all of your shells completely with the sauce, because this sauce is what's going to make it absolutely delicious. I think Jason's over here drooling a little bit.
Absolutely. I've been known to enjoy stuffed shells, and this sounds wonderful.
He's also been known to enjoy anything with a bechamel.
Yes, true too.
Now we'll just dump that last little bit on there.
I'm getting bossy now.
I'll pour it on your finger.
I'll eat it. That's good. Actually, me doing it on finger is really good.
Now, for the crowning glory, I am using pure, original Parmigiano Reggiano. About 2 cups, fresh grated. If you have a problem with that and don't want to do that, you can use domestic. Domestic is cheaper. But if you use the green can, please don't tell me you did. Because I don't want to know. Because if you use the green can, it's not going to turn out the same. It's not going to taste the same. But you want to give a good, generous dusting of Parmigiano Reggiano. And if you've never bought Parmigiano Reggiano, a little goes a long way. It is very strong flavored. You'll get it near the deli in the gourmet cheese section. And he'll normally be in the gourmet cheese case. And there will be a rind on it. On the end, it will be stamped Parmigiano Reggiano. If it's not stamped, it's not the real thing. You will be surprised how much you will get out of just a little block. Because when you grate it, you have to grate it really fine, like with a microplane. And when you grate it, it's going to make so much more than you ever thought it would. So now that this is nicely covered, we're going to pop this into our 400-degree oven. It just has to get a little hot and bubbly and start to get a little brown on the top. So I'll be back and show you what it looks like when it's done. Now this beautifulness is out of the oven and it smells delicious.
So good.
And it looks amazing. As you can see, you've got little pockets of browning from the cheese and everything. And some of the olive oil has started to poke up from the bottom, which you want it to do that. That may look weird, but you want it to do that. It baked for between 20 and 25 minutes. It will depend on your oven. It could honestly go anywhere between 15 and 25 minutes, depending on your oven, how hot your oven runs. Now you want to let this sit. Otherwise you are going to burn the skin off your lips. And I don't think you want to do that. So I would highly suggest you let this sit for a few minutes. But this is going to be creamy and delicious and velvety, and then you will have those little pockets of melted mozzarella cheese inside of each shell. This is going to be to die for. So remember, come back next time to Angela K's Kitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.
All right, folks, I got the best job on YouTube. I'll tell you something right now. I'm excited. I'm absolutely excited about trying this, and I hope I blew on it long enough so I don't burn my mouth, because I have a very sensitive mouth, folks. I feel like Fred G. Sanford. The G is right good. It's so good. Folks, Angela K is amazing. That is so delicious. It's full of flavor, and it's not overpowered like in any spices or seasoning, and just good, creamy, everything together. Perfect. Angela K dreamed this up, and I'm gonna tell you something right now, folks. Angela K can really cook.